Yeah, good morning. Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Abubakar. Good morning, Faith. Yeah, good morning. Yeah, good morning, Motayo. Yeah, please mute your mic, Motayo. Henry, good morning. Okay, good morning, all, and welcome to today's class. We're in our sixth week, second day of our sixth week of training. Uh, Today we'll continue from where we stopped last week. We were handling CRUD functionalities. So for today, I want to step us up a notch and look at a different scenario. I understand that last week we manipulated our data, our dummy data directly from the DOM, right? And then I gave a task for you guys to manage to save your data to storage, to local storage, which you guys did, and I've seen some submissions already. Quite impressive work. Uh, well done to everyone that is taking their class take home seriously. That's like the easiest way to know what you're doing and improve, right? And become professional at what you're doing. So kudos to everyone that's taking that seriously. For others, I will encourage you guys to try and put in the work. Try and get busy. Get your hands dirty. That's the easiest way to become a professional. All right. So for today, let us first of all let's look at modifying our code to save our books to storage, right? So let's come to app.jsx. So this is where we have our books. So if I want to save these books now, let's start with getting the books, right? Setting the books, sorry, to storage, right? So I want to use a use effect to control that, and then say, okay, for the braces, yeah. So I'll say local storage dot set item. And the item I want to set is books, right? And I want to JSON that's stringify books. Okay, so basically we are storing that data now in local storage, and we can say our dependency array should hold books. Okay, so every time books has a change, we want to run this use effect and set the new book array to storage, right? Ask questions if you have any blockers as we go. Okay, are we good? Let's be active in the class. So when I ask like that, I want to be sure we are good so I can move on. So should I continue? All right, okay. So with this done, so we want to handle book state, right? So let's just modify this code. I want to do everything here for time's sake, right? So let's say const handle add book. We'll say E element. And prevent defaults. Okay. Const new book. Was the ID. Title. Then author. Set books. Books. And new books. Okay. And set title. Set author. First, let's create a state within this component. So like I said, I want to handle everything here for speed, just for this very application, right? For the rest, we are going to componentize. Set title. Okay. Set title. TRA. Okay. All right. So next step will be edits. So let's handle edits. Okay. And then let's handle updates. The edit with the local storage was really difficult. Okay. Edit with local storage. Why was it difficult? The only thing you are saving to local storage is the result. Is like this is the only thing, this is what you're saving to local storage. So after you are still doing your normal edit function. You're still doing your normal edit function or add function or delete function. Everything's still working the same. The only difference now is that when you set books, you are now saving the the present value of these books is what you are saving to storage. Do you understand? Enoch. Yeah, so it should not really confuse you like that. It's actually quite straightforward. So let's handle that update. Const updates and handle updates. And mhm. So still do the same thing. Okay, so no, this doesn't work. Let's set books. Set books. What books? The map. The ID equals selected book.id. Book. So that book. Okay. Then we want to set selected or no. This is after our action is done. Same thing, we want to set title and set author to no. Okay. So let's do we have our edit done? Okay, we have handle add book, handle edit, handle update. Okay, let's have handle delete. Yeah, handle delete. Okay. People already understand what we did with handle delete now. It's the same code. So, and then have our const handle submit. So for handle submit, I want to prevent default. No, let's not prevent default. There's no need for that since our functions are already preventing default. So I want to say if selected book, right? Handle updates book. And so if it is not truthy, handle add book. This is book. Okay. So we have our functions laid out, right? Do we have any misunderstandings that we need to clarify before we move forward? Is there any clarifications that you want before we move forward? use effects. So if selected book, set title. Selected book dot title. Then set the title selected book to the bottom. Okay. Then else make it empty. And then CRA we selected book. Okay. Are we good? I need feedback. Faith, do you understand? Motayo, are we good? Can we keep going? Okay, so we can go, right? Okay. So now, if you notice, we are setting item, but we are not getting this item yet from local storage. So basically, we are not going to be displaying what we have here. We want to display what we have in storage. So we can write a helper function. We can actually write that helper function in our utils.helper. We can create a new file here and call it helper.js, right? And then we can say export const get books from local storage. Okay. Then we say all right, then we can say const save books equals to local storage dot get item books. Okay. Then we want to stringify. So we want to return save books. So if there's save books, we want to JSON dot pass books. So if there is no save book, we want to display an empty array. So we can bring this into our function. Instead of having this empty array here, we can have this here and we import it. So we understand the concept of importing models, right? So let's console.log our books. Yeah, thank you. I think that's fixed, right? Yeah, const. Okay, so we have our console here, right? So let's see what, okay. We need to fix up our form before we handle display. So let's comment this out for now. still going to bring in the form from here. So there's our form here. And then we can handle submit, good. Then we have selected book. So this update, edit, or add book. Okay. Then we have our unchange, need a target of value. All right, so everything is in place. Are we good? Do we have any blockers so far? Do we have any blockers? Okay, no blockers. All right. So let's bring our list into this component and work here. Okay. All right. So we have our book title. Okay, everything is in place. But okay, so yeah, well, Enoch, let me read your question out. What if we didn't do that importing and exporting? We just wrote the function in the use state bracket. Of course, it will still work. It's the same thing, right? But it's tacky. Is the whole idea of React is a modularized library, right? So the whole concept of using React is modularization. So having your helper to have things like helper components, you can have different type of helper components. You can have a component to define how your dates should look like. You can have a component to define how your currency should be defined based on the currency you want, right? Or maybe you want to format figures for money. You know, formatting figures for money and normal numbers are not always the same. There's like a comma at some point, and then there's a full stop for at some point, right? So you can define all that format. You can do a whole lot with helper functions. So this is just a helper function that we've created to get our books from the storage. We can do this within this component. We can do it inside here and it will still work. Okay. There was another question. Why not do it in its components instead of loading the app? Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to, I just want us to go through this saving to storage and getting from storage. So this is not actually what we are working on today, and I don't want to take a lot of time jumping from one component to another. Is that clear, Udo? Yeah, exactly. So it's nothing to worry about. Okay. So undo delete and then undo edit. Nothing has changed. I just brought them closer to me so that I can visualize them quickly. Okay, so we have everything in place. So let's see what it looks like in practice. So as you can see, we already have books initialized as an empty array here, right? Are you following? Good. So if we create a book now, let's say React Masterclass by David Edu. Then we create this book. You see that we have it in our local storage here. We have the author, we have ID, we have a generated ID attached to it, and then we have title, React Masterclass, right? So you see that if I edit this for beginners, and I save, you see that local storage has updated. Are we clear? So we are doing all our, yeah, so we can do the same thing again and just, let's say extra classes out of it, right? And then we now have faith in our array here. Are we good? Do we understand? Is it clear? So if I delete this one now, we have only faith here in local storage. So anybody has any question to maybe help them understand what happened better? That is if you don't understand. Motayo is clear. Okay. Teolua, Enoch. Clear. All right. Enoch say that's simple. Did it look simple? Did it look easy? Okay. You say what? Yeah, it looked okay. So you say why is the what? Edit not in one line. Udo, the edit is in one line now. Okay, Enoch, let me hear your approach. What was your approach to handling this so that before we move forward, let's just get a sneak peek at your approach. What was your approach? Like, can you, let's say maybe copy a code or just unmute yourself and tell us how you approached
No,
handling
I
this?
mean, I did it just like the way you did it, but before I could think of doing like that, I did many other ways. So the fact that I just got it once is just always like I'm saying, wow.
Oh, okay. Okay, I understand. Well, as far as whichever way you use, as far as it worked for you, right? But simplicity is always the best. The simpler your code is, the more readable it is for especially your colleagues. Udo, that's a styling issue. We're not going to be bothering about styling issue in the class. We'll bother about styling issue when I give you tax. Is it took you approximately 1 day, but you know the benefits of doing this thing, right? The benefit of taking that 1 day to do this thing. There's no way you see a scenario where you want to like utilize local storage, right? That it will be an issue for you, Enoch. Do you understand? Exactly. So that's why it's very valuable to go through the whole stress. Even if it takes you 2 days, go through the whole stress of that 2 days. At the end of the day, as far as you get it to work, it sticks. It's now your property. That knowledge is yours. and it will never waste because as far as you are going to be writing JavaScript and writing React, you will definitely need the knowledge. So when I give you a task like that, it's always to help you build on what you are getting from the class and also help you learn how to solve problems on your own, right? Sometimes it will take longer. I've had bugs that took me over 2 weeks to 3 weeks to solve, and I discovered that it was just a capital letter that was supposed to be a small letter somewhere in my API. So there's a lot in it, right? But at the end of the day, yeah, Abubakar, Abubakar, you allow me. Yeah, just it was like, yeah, an API, like something like a key, right? Like a JWT key, but I was the one passing it in, and I missed one letter. One letter was supposed to be, it was supposed to be all um lowercase, but one of them was uppercase, and that was the bug. I couldn't move any code for almost 3 weeks. In fact, I had other senior developers in the company jump on that same code to look for that bug. So you can imagine that something as little as that can frustrate or make you feel like you are not good enough, or you are not supposed to be doing this, not where you're supposed to be farming or something. At the end of the day, if you put your head to it, you discover the issue and then you'll be able to move forward. And it will be an added experience. Yeah, box come with the package, though. Yeah, box come with the package. That's just one bug. I've been writing code for a while now. There's if I want to give you stories of bugs, there's so many. So yeah, um, I'm encouraging you. You see, I'm giving you my story now so that you be encouraged. If you find yourself doing something for 2 days and it's not working, don't give up. But the other advice I'll give is reach out to people. That's where your peers come in, right? Reach out to your peers. Try to network with people so that, because I know that my early days when I just left CodeCamp, it was my peers that helped me most, right? Because most of the issues I had to call back to them, and that's well. So sometimes don't wait until you're spending 2 days. If you spend one day on something and it's not working, try to reach out to somebody. Okay, let's keep going. We have done too many talking. So I want us to utilize an API to do the same thing that we just did. Do you understand? Are we together? You don't understand what I said, Abubakar? So I say we are going to use API. We are going to actually call an API to get our data, populate it, and manipulate it. Is that clear? So first step, I'm still going to use these components, but I'm going to rename them. So let's rename these components. Or should we start afresh? Should we write the code afresh to avoid confusion? Uh, okay, let's start afresh. Okay. Abubakar, where are you rushing to? I'm the one writing the code. I'm not complaining. Okay, so let's start afresh. So get this and then yeah. All right. Okay, so we also have we'll remove this. Okay, So this time we want to handle post, right? And we'll be using an API from JSON placeholder. So let's look at the API we want to work with. So I want to JSON placeholder post. Good. So this is what we want to work with. This data, right? If you want to access this data, you can. There are other APIs that you can use for testing for learning, right? For practice. So these are all dummy data APIs that we can use to do what we need to do, right? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to use posts, this one, right? To handle our API call. Give me a minute. All right, so let's get at it ASAP, right? So if we come here, we want to, we don't need this helper for now. Okay. All right, so first thing we want to do is make our API call, right? So let's have a new file called api.js. Then we would also install something called Anxious. So Anxious is what we use for handling HTTP calls. So npm install Anxious. Let me drop this for you guys in the text box. Npm install Anxious. Then I think I should also drop this. Yeah, we are going to do is normal fetch that we are doing now. Is there any unusual fetch, Enoch? We are going to do normal fetch. We are componentizing our work. We are having models. We are going to create models for everything. Used for HTTP calls. Yeah, we are going to do await fetch, of course. But we are going to be handling the call itself using Axios. Good. Yeah. Don't worry, just give it. Let's see how the code comes out, then we can ask questions if we don't understand. Okay. So we have import Axios from Axios. Okay. So let's define our API. Const API URL. Okay, so we have our API defined, right? So we can use it dynamically anywhere we want to use it. So let's have our function for fetching, right? So let's export const fetch post. Equals to, so I'm going to be using an async function. So who understands what an async function is? Hmm. Okay, unmute and tell us.
So the async function just helps you do asynchronous works inside the function, like when you want to wait for something or handle
Mm-hmm.
asynchronous jobs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if we say const rest equals await. So that means we have to wait for this API to call first before we do the next action. All right. Await axios dot get. Then we have our API URL. We want to return response rest dot data. Okay. So we have our fetch API call done, right? So you see it's a promise. So what happens in this API call is that this call is like a promise. So the API is promising us that it has information for us. So what we are doing here is we are requesting for this information that the API has. All I know is I used it with vanilla just when calling API. Okay. All right. So basically all we are doing is we are requesting for this data using a get method, right? So there are different methods. We have get, post, update. We can also use put, right? And then delete. So that's like the basic well, what we have been working on CRUD functionality, right? So we have everything available here. We are fetching it. So fetching it means we want to display it, right? We want to display it. Then we want to update it. We want to add. Add is when we are posting. That is create, right? So fetching it, we want to display, that is read. Update, we want to update it, right? That is put. Then there is delete, when we want to delete. Is it clear? What functionality does Axios provide that Fetch doesn't have? I'm wondering why people use Axios in place of Fetch. Okay, Faith, that should be your research now. Or that is everybody's research. Go and check why people are using Axios. Of course, you can use a typical fetch, right? But you can go and just check why people use Axios. So for me, Axios is very elaborate for me, and I don't even use Axios the way this is like the most minimalistic usage of Axios. So I can use Axios to define how my error messages appear. I can use it to define how my generally I can just use it to control all the API calls, responses, and everything on my application. Do you understand? Are we good? All right, but still do your research, sharp. Yeah. And then you are free to correct me if I am wrong. If fetch is more efficient for you, just let me know. Then we can hold another class for fetch, and I can do a typical fetch for you. Okay. But this is what I'll be working with. I'll be working with Axios throughout our training. Okay, I think I know our next take home assessment. So let's have our, I know, no, our next take-home assessment. You are going to replicate what we are doing today in class, but this time you are going to be using, you are not going to use answers. Export const add post one equals to async post const response equals to await exist dot post API URL and post return spread post spread post and then give it new property response is dot data dot id. Okay, so if you have any blocker, is rest an abbreviation? Yeah, it is. Yeah, let me not confuse. Let me just use response. Better. Is that clearer? Yanu. Okay. So any issues, any export const update post. Wait. Let's just dot put. Okay. And then post. Okay. This will be posted already. All right. So post is covered, ID is covered. Okay. The post. Okay. All right. Then we want to handle delete. Delete post. Sync ID. Await answers and delete API URL by ID. Okay. All right. So is there anything you don't understand about these 4 API calls you just made? For updates, for updating, you can use that to update. Hey, did you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So we can move forward to now creating our components. So if we come to app.js, we have book form and book list, right? So first things first, we want to create our states. So let's say cons to handle books, set books, right? Posts rather. This should be post, and then this should be post. Okay. Then we want to handle selected post. Use states to null. Okay. Then we want to have our current user host. The current user is going to be a static information, hard-coded info. So we won't be manipulating this state. That is why we don't have the function to manipulate it. So we now have done door. All right, let's go. So we have our state covered. Let's go ahead and start utilizing our API calls. So we have use effect. So for use effect, we want to fetch our data, our post data, right? Are we following? Are we following? So we import fetch post from our API file, and then we will set the result to post. And then if there is an issue, we want to catch error. Or console dot error. Okay, are we good? We are going to have an empty dependency array for this. Well, yeah, so the function we are calling already is asynchronous. As you can see, it's an async function, right? And what we are trying to do is we want to use the use effect to run this every time we mount. Do you understand? So we'll be running this API call every time our component mounts so that we can always have the most recent content of this post. Are we good? So for every action that happens, on this data, every time we set post, utilizing if it is the update or add or delete function, right? We want this function to run again. Every time there's an action, we want this use effect should run so that we are getting the most recent content of this API. So the most recent content of the data in this API should be what we are setting to this post. So this post here should be the most recent data always. Do you understand? Are we good? Okay, all right, good. So with this done, we can move on to handle our save post, right? So for save post, const handle save post. I'm going to have post here. And then we want to say if selected. This is like, if you notice, this is like almost the same thing we have been doing since. If selected post, right? We want to update post. So we import update post and run the function here, passing the selected post ID and the post. Are you following? So if you notice from this selected post, from this API call, we have two arguments. We want to pass the ID and the post. So we want to pass the ID of the post we want to edit and then the post content, right? So for here now, all we do is, all I'm doing here is trigger this API call, then pass the selected ID, the selected post ID, and the post itself, the post content, right? So anything that we add to this ID and this post now should potentially work on this particular API call. Is that clear? Is that clear? Can we go on? Response, please. Henry, are you clear? Come on, guys. Let's hear it. Good. So the ID is not gotten from this. It's not gotten here. This is not where you are getting the ID from. This API call now, you only say that for this put request, for this put method, you want to pass the ID that you want to edit. Rather, you pass the API you want to edit stuff on, right? Because the content is in this API, right? So we now want to use the ID of this API, and then we want to also pass the post. So when we come to where we are using it, right? Good. Exactly, it's the data we are sending. Good. So because now this is the data we are sending, and then we want to send it based on this ID. This selected post now is going to be a selection from this post that we are getting from this API call. So we have gotten this API call first, right? Now we have the post. Now we select a particular post that we want to edit. That post has an ID. We pass that ID here that, okay, for this update post to work, we want it to work on this particular post based on this particular ID. Then we want to pass this post value. That is the post now that we are going to be editing. Any content we add to that post value is what we want to pass as the body of this API call now, which is this here. Sorry, which is this here, right? So if we pass it now, this API call now should potentially pick this ID, pick the particular post that has this ID, and update it with the new content that we have provided on this post. Is it clear? This one, this dash here. Yeah, so that's like, it's part of the API request. So this API request is dependent on a parameter. This is the parameter. Do you understand? It's dependent on this ID. So there are some API requests. It's a route. Let me call it a route. So you know how your routing works. Let's look at, do I have anywhere I did routes anywhere? So it's a route. It's like API route, right? So you have API route that takes you to see all the posts. And then you have API route that takes you to see one post per time based on the ID that you pass to that API, to that route. Udo, do you understand? Okay, good. Yeah. So yeah, just call it a route. That's the route. So based on this, we now come here. So we have this defined, right? And we should be able to make, so now we say dot then, but then we now want to do another action, right? And then we want to say set post, post dot map. So don't get confused with this P that I'm writing here. I don't want to confuse people because we have posts. So P dot ID equals to selected post dot ID. Okay, so it's raining here. So if you guys don't hear me clearly, just pardon. But hopefully it won't disturb. Okay, so for that, we want to spread P. We want to spread P and spread posts. Or we want to just display P. All right, we are good to go. So if you don't understand, just ask questions so that I can explain further. So set selected post to null. And then we want to catch error. Dot catch. Also that's okay. Then we want to have our else. So I'm handling updates and creates with this function, right? So I now want to say add post. So that is our API call again. For add post, we don't need to have an ID because it's a fresh post that we are creating, right? So the then new post arrow function set post third post and then add new post to it. Okay. Then we still want to catch our error if there's any. So catch console.error. All right. So if you notice, we are always catching error when I write this code, I always try to catch error in our else statements. It's always very useful to handle your error exceptions, right, properly, so that if your code has an issue, you can always trace where the issue is coming from. Okay, so we have our handle saved. Is there anything that is not clear in this handle save that you want me to explain? But I think it should be clear. But if you don't understand, just let me know. Don't be shy. So let's handle edits. All right. Post.find p plus to ID. Okay, that works. Okay. All right, so we just set our selected post to this. All right, so handle edits is done. Any questions? Okay, Faith, unmute and ask.
Okay, I'm just wondering, this, I don't know, maybe it's because of Axios or what. I'm just seeing this then and catch. I understand what is happening, but like, is there no way we can like, create, how will I put it now? Like, for example, that place you did const rest now is equals to await, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes you see some people don't now do const data is equals to await rest.json, just to like be, how will I put it? Declaring those things and like, because this kind of, for me, don't know, Sha. If somebody have bug, I feel like it would be so difficult in a way to notice. Although I know that you are consoling the error here, but then how do we have an idea? Because there are sometimes that when you fetch something, you are meant to receive a data from like the API or something like that, and then you now like use that data or something like that. Like for an example now, this place, this add post dot then this new post is the data that you're getting from that add post now, then you're not using it. But is there not a way we can do, like, for example, now I can do const data or const new post is equals to await add post, then that post this thing, then you cannot like use that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me respond to you. So this is what we have done, right? That's the whole idea of modularization, right? Everything you are talking about has been taken care of with this code that I've written here. Do you understand? I have made all the API calls here. So all I'm doing now is utilizing these functions. So these are like helper functions that I've created here to make my API calls, right? So it has handled, Axios has handled the whole process of stringify, or if you want to pass it to, you want to do JSON.pass, right? It has taken care of all that. So what Axios is doing now is just giving us a complete response message, right? It's giving us a full response. And within that response now, we have our information embedded inside the response that we are getting already. So when we come here, right, and we are trying to utilize this update post, like in this case now, trying to utilize this update post, we are just saying that once we handle this API call, so this API call is only handled from here to here, right? So once we handle this API call, we then want to utilize the content, the result of this API call. We want to utilize that result to do these other actions that we are doing within this curly braces, right? And then we want to also catch errors. So let's assume that the result is not suitable, it's an error. We want it to be returned here. So basically, we have simplified the whole process. Is it clear? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So we have simplified the whole process. Now, in this case, same thing is happening here. This post here is the post that is this post. This post that has been defined here already, right? That's the post here. So all we are doing now is for this post, for this add post, we want to add this post to this. And then once this API call is made, right, we want to take this action. before we check if there's an error. And then we are good. Is it clear? Hello, Faith. Hello, Faith. Are you clear? Is Faith still here? Okay, let's move in absence. Let's move on. So yeah, so check the in chat. You see that Abubakar is writing something quite valuable there. So that's another way you can understand what's happening. Okay, I think her network is bad, or maybe her phone again. Okay, let's move on. So for this, we are now going to import our delete post function. For this delete post function, it accepts the ID. Then, so after making this API call, we want to filter, we want to do our filtering, which is typically our process of deleting. All right. So we'll now say set post. Okay. So we'll now say set post dot filter post. Yeah, okay. So we good. All right. So we definitely want to handle our error. So we catch and display on the console. Console.error. Okay, are we good? Are we good? Please, I need response so that we can move forward. All right, okay. All right. So let's have a H1 here. But okay, we still have some time. So let's have H1. Post manager. Okay. So I want to change this to post form and post lists. And then I want to modify this. And then I want to modify this. Okay. All right. So we have these two functions done. So what we do next, acknowledge if you can still hear me clearly. All right, okay. Okay, so we are going to need selected posts on save and current user. Okay. So for unsave, we're going to have handle save. Handle save post, selected post, and then current user. Okay, we're good. All right. So for post list, we're going to have post. Okay. All right. Then for on edits, we're going to have handle edits. And then handle deletes. All right. Okay. So we have our props done and dusted. Let's move on to handle our post list. So it's just basically modifying these components because we already use them. So this is just going to be post, post, and all this is all the same. All right. So we want to have post, post. Okay. All right. So we have everything we need now for post, but for some reason, we are going to have to change some things. So let's say for key, okay, this is what we're going to do. Let's introduce one more component, right? Component to handle post item. So let's say post item, right? Post item, let's say key is equals to post.id. Then we're going to be passing post. Then we're going to handle our, yeah, on edit and then on delete. Okay, then close. All right, so new file, post item.jsx. All right, are we good? Are we following? Please acknowledge if we are following, please. So we have our post on edit, on delete. All right, let's go on. So we have, let's have our li, and then we want to have h. Let's have h3. Post dot title. Then we have our p tag. or post dot body. Then we have our buttons. Edit, post.id. Delete post.id. Okay. All right, so we can now visualize our form, our post data, right? So let's go ahead and see what our post data looks like. Good. So there's an issue. Post item is not defined. Okay. So in post list, post item is not defined. All right. So we should be able to have it display. Good. So our post is being displayed now. As you can see, the UI is work, right? So we are displaying our data, and then we have our form to create new data or edit existing data. Is that clear? Does it make sense now? Yes, it's displaying all the posts. So it's displaying all the posts that we have inside here, as you can see. Good. Now we can delete this post. So if you see I'm deleting them, I can delete all the posts that's on this UI. Can delete as many as I want. And then I can also edit. Okay, so it turns out our edit functionality is not working as it should. Let's figure out why. So for our edit function, we have on edit, handle edit posts. Set selected posts. Yes, so you should set the selected post ID that was clicked. So handle edit now. So on clicking this, we should trigger it based on the ID. Let's try that again. Yeah, it should display in this box. So I just created a new post. Okay, so for some reason, our post is not displaying. Is it editing? All right, so form, let's check out. Okay. All right. So we haven't actually worked on our form, and nobody even noticed. Did you all notice that we've not worked on the form? Huh? You guys are not paying attention then, because as you're paying attention, you would notice that we did not work on the form. So for the form, you see that we still have author and title, whereas we are working with different things now. So this is body, and this is body. Okay. And then for here, we need the selected book on save and current user, right? Yeah. Current user. Okay. So for this, we are going to have use effects, selected post, selected post. So if selected post, we want selected post, the title and selected post dot body. And then we want to replace this here and here. Okay. This should be selected post. All right, we are on track. So for this, for unsave, we want to use current user dot ID. Selected book dot ID. And this will be user ID. User ID. Body. And then title. Okay. So we have our title, body, and user ID. So the user ID will be the current user ID. On save. Are we together? Are we good to go? All right. All right. So line 26. All right. Thank you. I like that. Post. Edit post. Add post. Okay. So what else here? All right. So we are good. Line 40. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys for working with me and paying attention. Line 33. What are we changing on line 33? Abubakar. We're working with title, set title. So it's just the book that needs to be changed. No, we did not change title. Okay, so let's go ahead and see this in action now. Good. Everything works now. So if we refresh this, okay. So you see that we have all our data. We can edit anyone we want to edit. You see that when we edit, we have all the data here. So I can decide to leave only one word here and two words here, and save changes. Good. So you see that it has changed. You see the title, and they can do we can do here now is make it a little bit readable, right? It's, as you can see, it's a little bit too not really nice in the eyes. So we can just do a little bit of editing, of styling rather. So I think our input fields are good. Let's just have labels to them. So this will be our title. And then this will be okay. All right. I think I want all the text to start. Then it's width of 6 over 8. Okay. No, it's not. Okay. Okay, I hope you guys are with me. Okay, so wait. Where did I see it? I saw it. Wait. Right. Okay. Mhm. All right. Then okay, that's still too much. Okay. And for this one, this list. Are we together? All right. Sorry, it's taking a little bit longer. Let's just start this thing. Okay. So yeah, any questions? Do we have questions? Uh, Anybody has a question? Is it none for tailwind? Okay, no issues. So I just want us to have like how to see if we can just be able to visualize our code a little bit cleaner. Okay, so I think we can visualize it's clear. Okay, let's give this button a little space. Mm, that's too much. Oh, what's going on? Wow. Okay. Then this is what is causing that issue. This is plus now. Okay, so we have our posts looking a little bit better now, right? All right, so we can see if we make an edit now, we can at least visualize what we are changing and see it take effect in real time, right? So if we save this change now, see that this one has reduced, the content reduced. If we create a new content, good boys and good girls, go to let me say um, this, this. And then I create the post. So it looks like our post did not create, or it added to the end. No, our post did not create. So why did our post not create? Okay, let's check our code. Let's see why it not change. We have post, we have fun. Body and body, yes. Title, yes. Set title is correct. In the targets. Very good to know. So what's the challenge? And those summits is correct. Mm. Mm. Save post. If there's no selected, then this should run. This is working. Okay, let's try it again. So set auto is not defined. Set auto, where is set auto 21? Postpone. Okay. All right, let's try again. So add posts. We did not post add. Yeah, it's supposed to come to the top actually. So I'm getting an error. Post is not a tree. What line? Type error. Post is not a tree. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you guys. I hope you guys are not. Okay, so this is where our error is. All right, let's go ahead and try again. Create. So data one create. Yeah, 2 trillion with the same key 101. That key should be unique so that where is this post list? Man, we are experiencing a lot of bugs, guys. So we don't have an error, but we did not still create our component. Okay, all right, so it's adding to the bottom. Not supposed to be so. Okay, well, our components are creating now. So we can do a sort and sort them out so that the new ones can appear above instead of appearing below, right? So are we together? So let's edit this. I don't like the fact that they are displaying down there. Why are they displaying down there? And save changes. So if we save changes, we should have the new code. We have an error. 500. Annoying properties. Request failed. Okay, so it seems like our API is failing for some actions. Let's try this action again. And reduce this and then save changes. Okay, so the existing code is working. Let's try to create go yet. It's still pushing it down. Okay. All right. Well, basically our functionalities are working fine. So what you guys would do for me? Are we together? I'm not seeing anybody commenting. Udo, Faith, Henry, okay. All right, okay. This is where we'll close our class for today. We have everything working. So when you are working on your own, add a sorting, like a sorting feature that will sort things as you add them to come at the top, right? Yeah, okay, Udo, I see you. All right, so your task for this weekend, your task for like take-home tasks that you submit on LMS is to replicate what we have done here without using Axios. Do we understand? So Faith, you know you are using Fetch, so you're not going to be using Axios to handle your API request. So Faith, write it and send it to the group so that everybody can see. Then when you write it, tag me so that I can pin it for everybody to see. Where's Faith? Abubakar. So Abubakar still in this class. Okay, Faith is back. So Faith, write it and post it on the group so that everybody can see. Is that good? Hello, Faith, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you guys for coming on board. See you guys on Monday. Please don't go and sit and relax. There's still a lot to learn. So do what I say, do these tasks that I just dropped. It's going to help a lot. Then you are supposed to have another promotional task for this week. So anticipate that it should drop anytime from now. Yeah, Faith, go ahead. Hold on,
Okay.
Faith. So thank you all for coming for the class, and bye.